What's up? Brandon Lilly here. I've shot this video several times and I'm just tired of shooting it. So the reason being is that what I talk about is solely my opinion, and I don't want it to be misinterpreted as whether it's right or whether it's wrong. A lot of times when I do these videos, I just ramble, share my ideas. So with that in mind, kind of as a precursor warning for what I'm going to talk about, just roll with it. And you know, again, at the end of the day, all I try to do is anytime I make a video, anytime I try to post a Facebook status or an Instagram post, is hopefully make somebody think. You know, the problem with this day and age is everyone reacts. Sometimes the best thing to do is just hear an idea, let it manifest, think it over, and then decide what you think about it. So, quick update on me. Again, my training is absolutely mind-numbingly boring and remedial for videotaping. I've videoed a lot of stuff, and I mean, in the comments below, if you guys want to see the stuff I'm doing, which is a lot of very basic hypertrophy training, mobilization, stuff like that with very moderate weight. There's nothing impressive about the weight that I'm doing right now because, for one, that's not my goal right now. I have come to the realization, the rationalization, and the belief that in my previous best, all I ever did was focus on strength. I focused on how to get strong. I focused on how to be as strong as I possibly humanly could at the expense of every other aspect of my physical capability. My sleeping, my breathing, my walking, my flexibility, all of that was compromised for my all-out assault on becoming strong. Now, with that being said, I know how to get strong. I know how to make myself as strong as possible. So I'm working all of those other areas that I was so deficient in for so long, with the hopes that when I bring those up, when I go back and start doing the strength thing, the strength cycle again, that all of that will complement my body and make my body more ready, willing, and able of lifting more weight. I still, without any hesitation, tell you that I believe I have better numbers ahead of me at a lighter, healthier body weight. I was, in very good shape at times in my powerlifting journey, and other times I just got big for the sake of being big. When you add body mass, for certain, you will get stronger. Even if it's fat, you will get stronger because your leverage change, everything benefits as your weight goes up to a certain point. So I kind of chased the dragon in that regard, and now, having done those things, I'm trying to make the sport harder on myself from a leverage standpoint, from a weight standpoint, by dropping my weight, all the while surpassing my best ever totals. I think it's becoming more and more apparent that some of the lifters that are moving the most weight now, very contrary to what you saw in the 90s and early 2000s, especially in the geared lifting days, of these guys are very high level athletes, and they're pushing their bodies, nutritionally, recovery, training, on and on and on. They're running the gamut to be the best that they can be. Especially in the multiply days, guys could get bigger at really any level, and the gear would be a little bit tighter. Tighter gear means more explosion, more reversal power, things like that. So there used to be this all-out assault on get as big as you possibly can. Sport has changed to some degree, and in a good way, I think. So, for myself, I posted a video or picture the other day that I was weighing 296 pounds. That was at night. My actual waking up, excuse me, long day. Been on a flight since we've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. So, but anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. my actual walking around empty stomach weight in the mornings is about 293. Now, what am I doing? My goal is to get down to 275, 280, and slowly over the course of the remainder of the year and up until February or March, build my way back up to 285, 290 pounds, looking much different at that body weight than I do currently. I'm not unsatisfied or, unhappy with how I look right now, but it definitely can be better. I'm not looking at it from the standpoint of I want to look a certain way, but I know if I'm holding body fat that I want to get more muscle mass and I want to get leaner. So that's what I'm working towards right now. That will allow me to decide, okay, if I'm 290 pounds, do I just push my weight up closer to 300 for a competition, or do I clean up my diet, get myself down into the low 280s, and then just do a very, very simple weight cut, water deprivation down to 275. And, I think that's a much healthier choice for me right now is 275. I could see myself lifting there for a few more years at a very high level. I don't want to be the guy. I will always lift and be around the sport, but I know with the situation with my knees that I only have so many chances to do a full meet at a high level. So when I talk about being around a few more years, that's at full competition. I would probably stick around the sport doing some bench press stuff and some deadlift stuff just to stay active and a part of the sport that I love. But I just know that if I want to keep my knees as long as I possibly can, I've got to be a little bit smarter about picking my battles. So that's what I'll do. I'm in California right now, headed down to San Diego to watch the U.S. Open being held at California Elite Training Centers that Gracie is putting on, and as many of you might know and some of you might not, one of the biggest cash payouts for powerlifting in powerlifting history. I've heard rumors between $150,000 and $200,000, which is absolutely massive. I think it's going to be an awesome day for the lifters that get out there and perform and, possibly win or place. But here's the point that I was making earlier. A few people that I trust and respect and value their opinion have talked to me about this event and what it means for the sport and what it means on a broader spectrum than just this weekend. And here's what I think. I think we're at a point now where the sport, because of CrossFit and strongman, powerlifting is receiving the benefit of some of those athletes paying attention to what powerlifting does. And I think that means that a few other companies that are maybe on the fringe of powerlifting will start tiptoeing into the arena. There will be some more money possibilities and so on and so forth. Eventually, not right now, but I think in 3 to 5 years, you will see powerlifting have some events, such as a Pro Raw or a Boss of Bosses type event or some of the WRPF stuff, just to name a few type events that, if edited correctly, could be paired with, a World's Strongest Man event or a Europe's Strongest Man or a CrossFit event. I'm just talking very, very early stages, could be paired with that, maybe shown, during a break on the show or after the show or something like that, but at an entry level to get the foot in the door and maybe move it towards television. Do I think that that's necessarily an all-important thing? No. As long as the sport keeps growing organically, we keep getting new people and high-level athletes in, the sport's going to be fine. But I think from a long-term perspective, I think there is a market there to showcase the sport on television if it's produced correctly. Now, my worry, or maybe I shouldn't say worry, but I should say if I was doing the event, this is how I would have done it. And this is not a criticism on them. They did the event exactly how they wanted it. But what I could have seen that would have added to the maybe anticipation or the meaning of winning this championship, what I might have done is if I had, let's say, $160,000, just for an example, I would have had 4 to 5 qualifiers regionally, maybe 4 regionally, a Northwest, a Southwest, a Midwest, and an East Coast, qualifying event where I took 5 to 6 people from each of those and brought 25 people, men, 25 women, excuse me, 25 men, 25 women to a semifinal, and then have them perform there and take a top 10 men and women for the final down the road. And you could have spread that money out over the course of a year or even 2 years, really. You know, have the qualifiers and the semifinal in 1 year, and then in the spring of the next year or something have the final. But, you know, it would have built some anticipation. It would have built a lot of talk. It would have built, you know, a true championship feel. And that might have been one way that I did it if I had that kind of money. Now, the other thing that is a concern for me is that if this is a standalone event, then what was the purpose? If it's not replicated, if there's not that caliber of money next year, then the event loses some of its appeal. It's actually maybe a retraction or a step backwards. And the other side of the coin is you have a lot of great blue-collar, hard-working people who are just doing their best to promote the best meets that they can. They'll never have this kind of payout, and their meets are going to take a hit, you know, from a standpoint of the high-level lifters that might participate because they're looking for events like this. You know, is it a bad thing to have a high-level event? Absolutely not. But from the standpoint of the little guy, he might get crushed out. And powerlifting has always been a beautiful sport because good, hard-working, honest people can promote these meets and do a lot of good, not only for their gyms, their communities, their area, their region. So that's my only concern. And I don't want that to come out as like I'm knocking what's going on here, because I think it's a great thing. It's just from a big picture spectrum, I hope it's something that becomes sustainable. I hope it doesn't damage other people who are trying to do good things within the sport just because, you know, somebody has the ability to put this kind of money on the table. Hopefully it doesn't negatively affect anything. Now, I will say this. I'm very excited for the event, but I'm also very nervous for the event. Excited because if this event is judged correctly, judged strictly, and the lifters rise to the occasion, then it will become a benchmark for excellence. You will see lifters that rise up, put up a big total under strict conditions, get a big financial payout, and it's a positive thing, and it hits the internet and everybody's positive, great. Where it can be a damaging thing and it can be an awful thing is if everybody shoots for the moon, forgets what they trained, and they overshoot themselves, and you have a bunch of bomb outs. You have people who, you know, maybe don't perform their best or whatever, or the judging is lax and soft, and then all of this, you know, happens and it goes to the internet and the keyboard warriors just tear the meat apart. It's really a bad thing. I mean, it just, nobody wins in that situation. So I think the best thing that can happen is that the meet directors stress to everyone the judging is going to be strict, but it's going to be fair. And to the lifters, do lifts that you can accomplish, do lifts that will allow you to present yourself well and also show the meet well. I don't think that's an unfair request from a promoter that's putting $150,000, $200,000 on the line to say, hey, perform. You're not here to bomb out. You're not here to shoot for something that you can't get. Now, I understand as the lifts move on and you get to third attempts, or you come down late in the competition around a bench press or something like that, or a deadlift, and you have to bump up a little bit over what you expect to go for the win or to go for a place. Absolutely. You're a competitor. You go to win. But just raising opening numbers just because it's a big event, I think that's foolish. I think people need to maybe compete a little bit more conservatively on their openers, make smaller jumps, or maybe, make a little bit bigger jump to their second, and then just let the cards fall where they may on the third. But just be smart. put on a good show, and I think this event has the caliber of lifters and the caliber of judges to make it something really, really special that's talked about in comparison to the WPO days, the Hawaii record breaker days, and I just really hope it becomes something that's special for a long time, because the sport is definitely ready for it. It's definitely in need of it. So this could be a good footprint in the right direction. So I'll talk to you guys later. I'll give you some updates this weekend from the event. Thanks for watching.